so it said we can just start talking when we want. That's what's going out.
Okay, welcome back to the Wildwater European Championships in Val di Sole, Mezzana, the region of Trentino in northern Italy. Got some great shots of the River Noce at the moment. We're awaiting a qualification round of men's and women's C2 for the final tomorrow.
It truly is a beautiful location, this, isn't it, Jamie?
It is absolutely stunning. The sun's shining. We've had a mixed week of weather so far. The river is probably at a perfect level at the moment. It's not intimidatingly big, but it's technical. You've got to be really accurate and precise with your lines.
And crucially, it is hiding at least a few of the rocks
that
are buried within the river.
We've had a great week so far. We're here with part of the British team, helping with the commentary for this afternoon's racing. And we're just waiting for the first athletes to get on the water. So C2, for those that don't know, it's two men or two women in the same canoe. Each one has a paddle and they paddle on one side. It's very, very technical, probably the most beautiful type of boat to paddle. Very, very satisfying when it goes right, very frustrating when it goes wrong. And it requires a lot of teamwork, because if you've got two brains in one boat, if one of them thinks the other one's doing something wrong and you're not going and understanding quite where you're supposed to be going, it can all go terribly wrong. It's also very spectacular to watch.
Yeah, communication is really, really key within these boats, but when you're in the midst of a sprint, there's not a lot of time for chatting amongst the paddle strokes. We can now see some of the supporters lining the bank.
Yeah, I think they're part of the Japanese raft team.
Yes, this is not just wild water paddling that we've got going on here this weekend. We have rafting, we have extreme slalom. Lots of fun to be had here.
Yeah, and there's also tonight, I think there's a first of the parties start, and they've got a stage set up across the river from where we're sat now. There's trade stands, there's food vendors, coffee vendors, beer vendors, more importantly.
Well, now that I'm not in finals tomorrow, Jamie, I will be looking forward to the beer vendors.
So we can just see some of the paddlers there on the bank waiting to get on. There's Laura Milne and Freya Price from the GB team, ready to support Kelly and Emma, who will be racing shortly. How have you found the week so far, Nick?
I've had a great time, Jamie. As I said earlier, this is one of my favourite places to paddle, and it's challenging, but it's enjoyable every stroke down this river. Once again, lots of learning to be done, and I feel very sore from all of the paddling that we've been doing now, so I'm looking forward to a little bit of a break. But yeah, it's just such a beautiful location and proper white water as well.
It is very, very nice. And I believe you've got World Cup competitions coming up later in the end of this month.
Yes, in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Yeah, really excited for that. I've not been there before, and I hear it's extremely beautiful as well. And that'll be really good. We had some good results last year in the World Cups, one of which, of course, was here. And we'll be looking to see if we can replicate those performances.
Okay, so the first boats look like they're on the water. The first boat is bid number 108, and it's Phil Dean and Andrew Crowhurst from Great Britain. They've been paddling together for the last couple of years. Progressed really well. Gained a team bronze medal at the World Championships sprint last year. Andrew was racing earlier in men's C1, and Phil is here just to paddle C2. They've had a few incidents during the week and had some boat repairs to do, and they've not had an awful lot of time on the water, but we're hoping they'll get down nice and cleanly and smoothly today. They've been paddling very well together.
Yes, well, I don't think many people have made it down this river without at least a couple of incidents. We saw in the racing this morning, even some of the best paddlers in the world here making some large mistakes and taking a few heavy hits. There's lots of fresh boat repairs going around. I was doing mine last night just before the race. So tough river, but very exciting place to paddle.
It has claimed a few scalps. One of the Swiss paddlers damaged their boat on the way to the classic start, and didn't actually manage to start the race. They put a hole in the boat on the pre-start, which is unfortunate, but sometimes the way it goes.
Yes, I believe the Czechs have a song about that.
Well, I can see Robert Neville to our left. Perhaps we could get a rendition. So just so the guys at home and anybody listening, we're racing in composite canoes and kayaks, specially designed for whitewater racing to get down the rapids as quickly as possible. They're quite unique in their shape and design. They don't have a rudder, but they do break when you hit them if you hit them hard enough on rocks. Generally backbagged, autoclaved epoxy resins with carbon and Kevlar fibres to make them super light. C2s, the race limit is 17 kilos for the boats that are racing at the moment. For kayaks it's 10 kilos, and the single canoes, is that 11?
I believe so, yes. Yeah, having a light boat can make all the difference down this kind of water. It really allows you to pivot that boat when you're on top of the waves and throw it around a bit. It also allows you to accelerate a lot quicker. So we do try and avoid the rocks, and we do try and avoid putting on lots of repairs because it only makes the boats heavier. But for racing, you've got to do what you got to do. Here in the British team, we've slowly been naming rocks after members of the team who have unfortunately collided with them. So I've got a couple of rocks down the bottom of the sprint course here. Freddie has claimed the big rock in the middle of the sprint that you will see shortly. He managed to claim that when we were here last year. Emma Christie, who is about to race in C2, has got a couple as well. And of course, there's a whole litany of more rocks up the classic course.
Okay, and here we have the start list for men's C2. It's flickering up. So we have 8 boats in total racing this afternoon. We've got Great Britain, Italy, Slovakia, France, Czech, all competing to become European champion tomorrow.
Yes, the French and the Czechs are traditionally the sort of strongest nations when it comes to the canoe disciplines. But Kerry and Emma have been giving them a good run for their money recently, and so have the Panatos from Italy. I think the Panatos, this is almost their home river, is that fair to say?
Yeah, they're based in Pescantina Canoe Club, which is down in Verona. It's probably an hour and 20-minute drive away. So it's quite convenient to get up here and train on the river at weekends, or even in the evenings in the summer.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely lovely. We should get a river like this near us, Jamie.
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? And some mountains.
Yeah. Not many mountains in the East Midlands.
No. So, Bib 108 is Phil Dean and Andrew Crowers from Great Britain. They'll be followed down the course by Diego Babato and Alessandro Minari. Bib 110 from the Czech Republic. Jaromir from Slovakia, sorry. Jaromir Ivanecki and Alan Porobsky. And here the first boaters away, which is Phil Dean and Andrew Crowhurst from Great Britain. Getting a nice line through the top, slightly in the waves, but they're going nicely, keeping the boat nice and straight. Now you just need to get the boat rotated round to the left and come across. A little bit late there, but that's fine.
Coming down and through again. One of the advantages of the C2 is that they have so much more volume that they can take on a little bit more of those waves than the kayaks and single canoes can. They just carry so much more momentum. But on the other hand, with two of you in the boat, they are much harder to turn and manoeuvre.
Yeah, so like we said earlier, communication is key. Generally you need one person that's got a little bit more say than the other person, just to make it work, and then safely through there. Pick up the rate, and off they go to set the initial times for this men's C2 race.
There we go, and a time of 1 minute and 6 seconds.
And the second crew of Diego Babato, Alessandro Minari from Italy are on the course. They'll be getting a lot of local support.
Oh, and a big brace there though.
Yeah, and they're going for alternative line.
That's interesting. I've not seen anybody come down the right-hand side of those waves.
No,
but hopefully they're making it work.
Yeah, they're a very young crew, racing for the first time internationally. But doing quite a good job of it so far. They've just got the boat steer by putting them on an edge. So if you see the boats leaning over like they are now, they've got leaning towards the right. So they're changing their mind on their route.
Yes, I think they realised that they weren't quite going to bring that boat round to the left-hand line and had to switch course at the last second.
But their time's going to be quite respectable, I think. Yeah, 1 second into the lead. Next on course from Slovakia is Jaromir Ivanecki and Alan Porobsky. Slovakia have a rich heritage in C2. They had 3 crews which basically dominated the scene for a number of years, from the early 90s through to 2010.
Yeah, really good to see the C2 making a comeback in Slovakia and across several nations.
Yeah, we have one of our coaches in the UK, Nicky Cress, has been doing an awful lot of work in developing C2 and canoe classes.
Yes.
And we have, I think, over 50 C2s ranked in the UK currently.
Yeah, it's incredible work that he's doing, and a big shout out to the Canoe Thursday crew at Nottingham Kayak Club.
Okay, and they've gone into the lead, 0.31 seconds ahead. From France now, Marcel Roussin and Tanquay Roussin.
Now, I always expect big things from a French C2 crew.
Yeah, they've got a nice high rate. They've got the boat well under control. They rotated it nice through there, straight through the V. Controlling the boat with the edges, not doing too much steering.
No. Excellent timing from the pair. One of the challenges in C2 is that you need to get those blades going in the water at near the same time in order to get the boat moving properly.
Yeah, I think they're struggling a little bit there with the line, but they're going fast, and this looks like a very good time. Yeah, 5 seconds into the lead.
That's a very impressive time. I would almost have put them into the finals of the men's kayaks.
Here we go for Czech team of Maciej Vanek and Karol Rasner. Just a bit of steering from the back guy. They've left that quite late to cross over.
Yeah, it is hard to bring such a heavy boat around onto that line. And there was a big edge there and very close to the rock, but they've managed to hold it together. The Czech crew's now putting in everything they've got to get that boat back up to speed and moving through the lower half of the course.
They've got a very, very experienced guy in the back of that boat. So they should go nice through there, a little bit deep into there, and they're skidding. They've just got past the rock nicely. but they're just, and these errors, as we said earlier, get compounded, so you end up doing bigger and bigger S's as you go down the river. It gets harder and harder to fight it.
Yeah, the less turning you can do, the better, but the second that you're off your line, the more turning you have to do.
They're into second place. Then we've got another Czech crew on course, Radek Namek and Ondřej Veselý.
Yes, now I saw these two struggling a little bit earlier in practice. You can see the tape on the front of their boat where they managed to, unfortunately, punt a rock.
So the Czech seem to have taken a slightly different line down here and coming wide.
I think the idea might be that they have to rotate the boat a little bit less on that top section.
Yeah, they're going quite well. I think they're quite a young crew as well. But they're certainly going for it. They're working very hard. Very nicely through there. They've held the boat really, really straight.
That was
they
beautiful.
Need to switch the edges. Oh, we just got dragged into that eddy a little bit. The time's ticking, but I think it'll be respectable. Into second place.
Good to see lots of young crews out there, gaining and learning experience.
A French crew on the water now. Corentin Koum and Clement Monjanel. Looking very composed, timing their strokes.
Yeah, opting for that left line again,
Yeah,
that was more popular with the kayaks.
Having to work to get around the bend a little bit. They're nicely through there, just holding the boat straight, edging the boat to help steer it.
Yeah, managing to keep in time through that choppy stuff under the bridge.
The C2s are also fitted with a skeg on the back, which is like a fixed rudder. You can't move it or adjust it from the boat. But it does help when you have it on an edge, it helps with the turning effect. And they're into the lead.
It helps with the turning effect, so long as the boat is moving, would be my insight.
Okay.
The second that you lose speed from these boats, the harder they are to control.
Now we're on to the last boat on the course, which is Nicolas Sauter and Theo Viens. Going very nicely through there. Just getting away from the rock and rotating round.
Making very light work of that.
Yeah.
They almost look like they're out for a casual Sunday paddle.
I
but
think
they're absolutely flying down the course.
They both qualified into the C1 finals as well, I believe.
It will be a big day for them tomorrow.
Yep. They're slightly offline there, but they're still going. Whether they get the top spot, it's going to be close. No, into third. I think they lost that just on the finishing rapids.
It is tough to keep the boat under control as you're filling up with lactic and your arms are burning. You often look at where you want the boat to go and then suddenly find it moving in another direction completely. There we have the results for the C2 men's.
So France taking the fastest time. Corentin Koum, Clement Monchadanal. Second place, again from France, Manuel Rossin and Tanguy Rossin. Third place, Nicolas Sauter, Theo Viens. Fourth is the Czech paddlers of Radek Namek and Ondřej Veselý. Fifth, Matej Vanek and Karel Lasner. Sixth is the Slovakian crew. And now we're just awaiting women's C2 to start their racing, which will be underway any second. We've got 5 boats from 5 nations racing. And first up is Cecilia and Alice Panato.
Here on their home water, and I'm expecting that they will set a blisteringly fast time for the others to match.
Yeah, both very experienced, multiple medal winners in all classes, I think, in kayak, canoe single and canoe double.
Yes, it's a really relief to the rest of the nations that there's not a third Panato sister, otherwise they would sweep the team races as well. There we have Phil Dean and Andrew Crowhurst.
Just with a coach, Neil Blackman. We'll be discussing how the run went, seeing what improvements could be made for tomorrow. Okay, first boat is away, which is Cecilia and Alice Panato. Well, they look like they were had a big edge on in the boat then. It looks like a nice line there. They're keeping the boat nice and straight. Few support strokes.
I think this is Cecilia's third race of the day. Is that correct?
Yep, it is. She was racing in kayak and C1, and now she's racing again with her sister. So it's quite a big ask.
Yes, I would be absolutely knackered if that was me. But they are doing an excellent job of holding it together all the same.
Yeah, they're working very well together. And just a little bit of steering from Cecilia in the back. And they'll be at it, doing it again. Which way are they going? They're going the right route.
Oh, they cut it
Just
very close to that rock there. Don't think that was particularly intentional.
No, a few more reverse strokes in the back. But they look like they're safely down. They'll be setting the time to beat to match at 1:07. In first place currently. I've got the Slovakian crew of Katarina Kupanova and Petra Soskova. So I used to race against Petra Soskova's dad, Peter Soskova.
Oh, so we've got a real generational rivalry coming on
Yes.
through between the Slovakians then and your daughters coming up soon.
And it was in C2 that we used to race as well. A little bit offline there. And they're doing well. They're struggling with their timing a little bit. You do have to keep your timing together.
Yes, I think that this is a relatively new crew, so this is one of the first times that we're seeing them race together internationally.
Yeah.
But I think that they've got a lot of potential.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've been really good.
It's lovely to see the C2 class thriving in wild water.
And that takes them into second place. Now we've got Kerry and Emma Christie, two sisters from Great Britain. Unfortunately, Kerry's been suffering a little bit with illness. She's in the front of the boat. They're taking quite a wet line there, but they've got the boat.
Ooh,
Don't speak too soon, do Amy?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that might be the commentator's curse coming into play there as they slide off the rocks on the bank. They were just a little bit too far over on that ledge drop, and you can now see how quickly the situation escalates. But they're just about back online now, and will hopefully find the power through the bottom half of the course to try and make up for that mistake early on.
Yeah, they're a little bit far left there. They're going to have some work done here to keep the boat to the left. I think they're all right there. They can just go straight to the finish. Another little bit of struggling towards the end there. It's very hard, as you can see, for all the girls.
Yeah, this type of river really favours athletes who are big and strong, and that just makes it a little bit harder for the women.
Into third place. And now we have the Czech crew of Anna Vikova and Beta Birova.
Oh, I thought they were on a very similar line there for 2 seconds to the Christies, but they've brought it back, and now they're cutting nice and close to the rock.
They're struggling to get the boat rotated round and keep it on line. Let's see if they can pull it back. I believe these girls are actually juniors, so they're struggling, caught in the eddy. They need to get the boat back out, back on line.
I think what they're doing...
They're going to go the right route, I think, from there. But they're doing really very well to manage.
To manage this, I can't think of many juniors that I would happily trust down this stretch of water. It is very demanding and quite consequential in places, so I think that they've done an excellent job to keep that together.
Third place. Well done. Okay, last boat on the water is Elisa Gobert and Eve Vitali Gilbert.
Ah, yes, another French crew.
Eve has a very famous father, Vitali. He used to race in the late 70s, early 80s. Making it look quite easy.
Yeah, the French currently very on top of that, but let's not speak too soon. Although they have navigated that a little bit close to that rock, but it's possibly the best that we've seen down there so far, I think.
Yeah, that's very good. That should comfortably take them into the lead. Just 1.94 seconds into the lead.
Excellent work by the French crew there.
That's very good.
Well, I believe that concludes the C2 racing.
I think you might be correct, Nick.
Yes. We will be back here tomorrow for the finals to decide who will be our European champions. And that will be for both the C2 as well as the K1 classes and the C1 classes. So a busy day of racing here tomorrow in the Val de Sol.
Yeah, with everything to play for. I expect we'll see some excitement, and there's the classification for women's C2. In first place, Elsa Gildert and Yves Vitali Gilder. Second place, Juliana Vice Panato. Third place, Katerina Kupunova and Petra Soskova. Fourth place, Anna Vikova and Beta Perova. And in fifth place, Kelly and Emma Christie. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for live coverage of the finals, starting at 3 p.m. local time, I believe.
Yes, so that will be 2 p.m. for our UK and Portuguese viewers. And everybody else is going to have to work out their own time zones.
Good. We'll leave you with some lovely views of the Val di Sole Mezzana Whitewater course. Good afternoon.
And goodbye.
Goodbye from me, and goodbye from him.